Okay, good day class. Today we begin an important lesson that connects philosophy to something we all experience daily, which is our environment. So this will be our last lesson in philosophy for prelims. So when we say environment, we don't just mean trees, oceans, or animals. It also includes our communities, cities, and even our personal spaces. Philosophy helps us reflect on how we live with the environment, how we affect it, and how it affects us in return. By the end of this lesson, I hope you'll see that caring for nature is not just a responsibility, but also an essential part of living a meaningful and ethical life. Our objectives today are practical and philosophical. First, we'll learn to identify environmental disorders like pollution, deforestation, and social inequality, and see how they affect human life. Then, we'll learn that order and organization, even in small ways like arranging our room, reflect harmony with the environment. We'll also discuss why caring for nature matters, not only for health and well-being, but also for building a sustainable future. Finally, we'll highlight two key virtues, which are prudence and frugality, that help us live responsibly. As you listen, think of how each point connects to your daily life as a student and as a future decision maker. So let's begin with our relationship with nature. Imagine this. Every breath you take comes from oxygen, which are produced by trees and oceans. The food you eat depends on healthy soil and clean water. We are deeply connected to our environment. We don't exist in a vacuum, but the relationship is two-way. Just as nature influences us, our actions also affect it. When we cut down too many trees, pollute rivers, or waste resources, we damage not just the planet but also our own health and survival. Caring for the environment, therefore, is like caring for ourselves and the generations who will inherit the earth. So let me ask you, what's one action you've done recently that you think has a positive or negative effect on the environment? So people have different ways of looking at nature, and philosophers call these environmental world views. Okay, so we have here anthropocentrism, which is human-centered. Nature exists mainly to serve us. So for example, a forest is valuable because it gives us wood or land for farming. As for biocentrism, life-centered view, this is a life-centered view. It says all living things, plants, animals, even insects have moral worth. A biocentric person might protect a tree not because it's useful, but because the tree has value in itself. Ecocentrism goes beyond individual life. It values the entire ecosystem, including soil, rivers, and air, even if they are not alive. So it sees nature as an interconnected system. So with this, here's a question for you. If you were in charge of deciding whether to cut down a forest for a housing project, which worldview would you follow? Now, another important idea comes from the philosopher Arne Naess, which is now shallow versus deep ecology. Okay? Shallow ecology focuses on technical solutions like recycling or banning plastic bags, just like in Baguio City. These are good, but they mostly address the symptoms. Okay? Whereas in deep ecology, it asks us to change our way of life. It challenges consumerism and reminds us that all life has value, not just humans. Okay? So, for example, shallow ecology says, let's recycle plastic bottles. Deep ecology asks, why do we keep producing and buying so many plastic bottles in the first place? Which do you think is harder to practice? Shallow or deep ecology? And which one do you think our world needs more today? So, environmental problems come in many forms, which we can call disorders. Okay, quote unquote. Physical disorder is what we easily see. These are now the trashes on the street, polluted river, or smog in the air, like that. Okay? So, ecological disorder goes deeper, like destruction of habitats or extinction of species. So, when we lose a species, we also lose part of the ecological balance. We also have here social disorder, which shows that environmental problems often hit the poor the hardest. For example, poor communities often live near dump sites or flood-prone areas. They suffer more even though they contribute less to the problem. Understanding these disorders helps us see that protecting the environment is not only about saving nature. It's also about justice and fairness. So, the opposite of disorder is order. Order brings harmony and balance. So, it doesn't mean cleanliness. It doesn't just mean cleanliness. It also means creating spaces that are both functional and pleasing to the eye. We call this aesthetic organization. For example, when your desk is organized, you can study better because you're not distracted by the clutter. But this isn't only about personal space. By practicing order in small ways like keeping our rooms clean or organizing school activities responsibly, we also train ourselves to be better stewards of bigger spaces like our community and our planet. Can you think of one way your personal habits at home reflect how you treat the environment? Now, why should we care? First, for our health, of course. Polluted air and water directly cause illnesses like asthma, diarrhea, or skin problems. Second, for our well-being. Studies show that being around nature reduces stress, improves mood, and even boosts focus. Things that you as students need. Finally, we care for sustainability. This means using resources now in a way that doesn't compromise the future. Imagine if all clean water was gone in 20 years because of our misuse today. What would happen to future generations? Caring for the environment is not just an option, it's a necessity. So, philosophy now teaches us not just ideas but also virtues, good habits that we should practice. Now we have here two: prudence and frugality. Prudence means wise judgment. It's about thinking ahead and making choices that are good not only for now but also for the future. For example, choosing to buy a reusable bottle may cost more at first, but it saves money and reduces plastic waste in the long run. Frugality, on the other side, means using resources wisely and avoiding waste. It's not about being stingy, it's about valuing what we have. Instead of buying new clothes all the time, maybe we can reuse the clothes, repair them, or repurpose old ones. Both prudence and frugality remind us that living simply and wisely helps both us and the environment. So, to conclude, our relationship with the environment reflects our worldview and philosophy of life. If we only see nature as a tool, we will continue to exploit it. But if we see ourselves as part of a larger ecosystem, we will act with respect and care. Living a philosophically coherent life means being consistent. What we believe should show in what we do. So by moving beyond anthropocentrism, practicing order in small and big ways, and embracing virtues like prudence and frugality, we take real steps toward a sustainable future. Remember, caring for the environment is not just about saving the planet. It's about saving ourselves, our loved ones, and the generations yet to come.